All right, Bill.
Thank you all for coming out today. And I don't know if you know my background. When I got out of high school, I went into farming. So Bill asked me to talk about growing corn. And the NRA is not the National Restaurant Association. But thank you. Bill asked me to talk about the state GOP run. I'll try to keep a short 2.5-month campaign short for you all here to understand what happened. I was driving out in December to the Electoral College. I was an Electoral College elector. And on the way out, I was talking with Ted Christian, who was running for the state GOP. And he was our go-to guy. He supported Trump in 2016. I met with him for breakfast multiple times to plan strategically what we need to do for the state. I even gave him money for his campaign. And about a week and a half later, and I'm on the phone with him while driving out to Harrisburg, everything's great. A week and a half later, he pulls out. Well, why, Ted? He couldn't say. But found out that the head of our Senate in Harrisburg told him if he didn't pull out, he wouldn't get any more work from the state or from the party. So he was excised out of running. And of course the phone rang, Bill, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know, maybe you should run. And I need that like a hole in my head, quite frankly. I mean, I'm already working 70 hours a week. But as Bill said, dealing with the Trump campaign in 2016, the party back then, they had asked me to be the MC for the last rally in Pennsylvania up in Scranton the night before the election in 2016. The Trump campaign asked me to come up. And I said, be honored. The next morning I get a call and they said, you're not the MC. Nobody knows you in the party. And by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I got another phone call, and they said, well, you're going to be the MC because the tower said, if you're not, we're not coming to Pennsylvania. So that was my claim to fame in 2016. Went out to Mount Rushmore with the president for the fireworks, July 3rd. And on the way home, I said to my wife, we got to do whatever we can do to get him elected. I was never involved in politics before July 3rd, 2020. Everyone thinks I'm this expert and I was involved with them. I barely knew what a state senator and a state rep did because I was busy running businesses. I didn't have time to get involved in politics. I didn't know how dirty it was. I don't call Washington a swamp, I call it a cesspool because you can't get the smell off your hands when you shake hands with them down there. And I hope that's not going on all the media. I'll be in trouble. But so at the last minute they says, Bill, you have to run. So I said, okay, I'll run. That was January 3rd, I believe, right? And the first straw caucus was that next weekend up near State College. I drove up there with Tom Carroll and met with 23 rural county chairmen. And after I presented, and I already forgot the guy, who's the party chairman? Rothman, that's it, yeah. Greg Rothman. See how quick I forget. And Rothman presented, they had their little straw poll. I had 22 out of the 23 rural chairmen backing me. And the one was brand new chairman, first meeting she ever attended, and she wasn't understanding what had to go on, so she wasn't going to commit. That word got out and scared the party big time because there was going to be a vote next Saturday, and they changed the date because they knew they were in trouble. They spent probably a couple of $100,000 running against me. We spent probably $1,000. They were worried that they were going to lose their little fiefdom of control. And it was interesting to watch the T, as everyone calls it, the T of the state, the upper and the rural counties all coalesced around me, and the southeast here, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, went for Rothman. things we learned about Rothman is he went to Cuba 12 times to play baseball. Never played baseball in high school, never played baseball in college. My agency friend says he has to go back because he's been compromised. That's why he keeps going back. I can't prove it, but that's what I've been told. But I can't prove that. So he's been pardoned by Rendell as a Democrat governor for embezzlement to the Republican Party. I mean, he wasn't a great candidate at all from any stretch, but the establishment ran him because they could control him. And what do we have today? We have the consultants really running the state party. So we're in trouble, people. We've lost the party. You go to the party's website, and everything they say they stand for, they do and vote for completely the opposite in Harrisburg. Right? They're not for low taxes. They give the governor every year his $3, $4, $5 billion budget increases. They vote against us constantly, and our values are left in the dust with them. When the bylaws also, the state party, do not favor the outsiders. They were written specifically to keep the Southeast in power, and that's part of the problem. And now what I'm hearing from a lot of the counties, they're changing their bylaws also to keep the outsiders out. So we've got a problem there too. With the election itself, the bylaws say that it is a voiced vote when they vote for the chairman at the state party convention. We wanted a paper ballot, right? And exactly what we expected to happen during the vote is they went down the line, and as soon as they had the 50% plus one more vote, the guy stands up in the middle of the room and goes like this to the back of the room, we got it. And everybody else stopped voting for me because they didn't want to be outed who they voted for. Right. The RNC, the national RNC says a paper ballot is available to be used, and it didn't matter. They wanted a voice vote so they could force and cohere those that weren't staying in line with them. There's been a lot of shakeup that I understand. I still get emails and texts from a lot of people out there. They're desperate for change. We have a plan B to take out the state party. It takes money, unfortunately, and so far no one's come forward to help. Another state was in the same situation we were in, and I've got that governor, and I've got a former general counsel of the RNC, and a couple of other people that would share that, what they did in their state to take back their party, which would work here. But it would require us to win the governor's office. Right? We have to win the governor's office. When I go around now, we are 3 votes in the Senate away from becoming New York, California, Connecticut in regard to the Second Amendment. As soon as they own the Senate, we will lose all our gun rights here in PA. So we've got a big battle ahead of us. And I'm frustrated to no end that the people don't rise up and understand what's going on. I mean, I could sort of understand it because I was busy surviving, running businesses. With the economy today, a lot of people are just barely surviving. So to get involved in politics, it's not in their DNA to do that. And they get these mailers in the mail, and I always say, my best friend for these is my garbage can. Because I never read them. Because they never touch what's important to me, right? If you got this targeted and said, oh, hey, I'm for the Second Amendment, oh, I'm for the country, I'm for veterans, I'm going to read it. But being this general, I throw it away, right? You may want family, you may want retirement, you may want lower school taxes. The mailer should say that on here. In today's technology, I can customize every one of these in the mail based on your demographics and what would be important to you. Party doesn't do that. And a lot of the candidates don't do it either. So I don't have a lot. I'll save, maybe we'll do the questions at the end like you said.
Yeah.
It was interesting when I was running for state party chairman, there was an individual out in Pittsburgh that said we can't elect Bill because he's going to become the president of the NRA. Well, I don't make that choice. It's 76 board members that vote who becomes president of the NRA. And at the time, I was first vice president, and I wasn't running for president. The normal policy within NRA is you get elected for an officer position. It's 2 years, 2 one-year terms, and then you move on, and you go from second vice president to first vice president, then to president. And I still had another year term to do as first vice president. But that gained a lot of traction with a lot of the chairmen and a lot of the committee people that were out there because they were afraid that I can't do both jobs. And quite frankly, you couldn't do both jobs.
So we put a senator in?
We put a senator in full-time that's going to be raising money for his own campaign, right, for his friends. Don't get me going. I could go on for hours on that shit show. But that's what we did. So really only about a week before our annual meeting in April, where were we? Atlanta, Georgia, some of the board members asked me to run for president. And I said, okay, I would do that. So I was elected by our board 76 board members. They're elected from across the country. They're not representing states, they just get elected based on who they are. In the past, a lot of our board members were famous people. Carl Malone, Tom Selleck, Ted Nugent, I can go down the list of them. But a lot of celebrities, we've gone away from that now, and they're more toward our board of ambassadors, and our board members now represent the members across the state, or across the country. We're coming off of 6 years of lawfare. When I got elected first vice president last year, I think it was 30-something days later, I get subpoenaed for depositions by the New York State Attorney General. I'm not even in the job 30 days, and I've got to go into New York and be deposed by the New York State Attorney General. And then a month and a half later, I had to go sit in front of a judge again because of the New York State AG. And we're in this courtroom here, and Trump's in this courtroom there. Yeah. So when I got up to the front of the courthouse, I took a picture and I texted to Don and Eric, and it says, "Hey, I'm with your dad." But
and I think New York, we won that in New York, didn't we?
hey, yes, good question. So
We did.
we had problems internally. I'm not going to hide them. I'm not going to say they didn't happen. Our former EVP, Wayne LaPierre, took advantage of vendor flights, plane flights, boat rides, vacations, some higher-end hotels, some black car service. It valued out about $4 million.
Ouch.
Over 30 years. Wow. Right? Still significant. And I can't, that's what the jury said it was worth. I didn't get an accounting of it, but that's what the jury says, about $4 million. The jury awarded NRA the money. We collected about $5.1 million, I believe it is, because we got paid interest on the money. But it tarnished the reputation of the organization.
Yeah.
And I have a president's column with the president's email in there, and I'm getting emails from the members, and they're asking good questions. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of wanting to know what actually happened. Why did it happen? How did it happen? How did the board not do anything? And I was on the board. Okay? I sat there for 20 plus years, and they did a phenomenal job of hiding it from the board. We were like, I say, mushrooms. They kept us in the dark and they fed us shit. No offense. And we had a Big Five auditing firm that audited us every year. And the Big Five auditing firm did bring it to the attention of the audit committee. So it wasn't that we didn't do our job, is they were very careful of doing things in small little manners that added up to a lot of money over time. And we lost the trust of the members and the donors. So we're in the process of rebuilding that. We're building transparency, accountability, and integrity. The three officers, myself, my first vice president, and second vice president, are all business leaders. They're great people out of Oklahoma and Texas, and we're really turning things around. I was on the phone just before I got here for almost 3 hours with 22 of my board members. We're going to reinvent the organization based on what we were founded on. And does anyone know why the NRA was founded? I'll ask that question. No idea. NRA came into existence in 1871, right after the Civil War. How many shots did it take for a Union soldier to hit a Confederate soldier during the Civil War? You can answer, Bill. I'm asking them to answer. 7? 3.
5. 2.
Come on.
12.
Come on.
100.
Come on.
25.
Come on.
1.
I won't be here all night. 1,000.
Wow.
1,000 shots, official records from the war. It took 1,000 shots from the Union soldier to hit a Confederate. Because where did they come? They came out of the city. They didn't come off the farms. They didn't come off the rural area. The Confederates were much better shots. So the NRA was founded to teach marksmanship back in 1871.
And you guys are great on that.
I'm sorry?
You guys are great on that.
Yes. So that's how we started. Believe it or not, in the 1800s, New York already kicked us out of New York State.
Wow.
They were already anti-gun in the late 1800s. And we moved to New Jersey, and then from New Jersey we moved around a little more. But right now we're headquartered in Fairfax, Virginia. But the reason the New York Attorney General could come after us is because our charter from 1871 is still in New York. And nobody paid attention all those years to move it. So we'll get it moved. But that's how we were founded. 50 years ago, this year, is when ILA was founded, Institute for Legislative Action, and that's when NRA first got involved with politics, lobbying, gun rights, lawsuits. So 50 years ago, I don't think there's anyone that would dispute if we did not have NRA and ILA, we would not have our guns today. 4 major Supreme Court rulings that we rely on, and the most recent one a couple years ago was the Bruin case up at the New York Rifle and Pistol Association, and that set the boundary that you can walk out of your house and have a gun with you and carry it. And we're winning other cases based on that. We just filed a case today up in Massachusetts because they effectively have banned really gun ownership in Massachusetts with some legislation. New Mexico, of all states, try to enact emergency measures that you can't buy a gun for 30 days. It's unbelievable. States that you think we wouldn't have a problem, we are. Colorado, New Mexico, now Massachusetts, and of course California.
New York still has their restrictions.
They do, yeah. What they do is they just disregard the law, or they convolute the law so bad, like the District of Columbia. I got a permit to carry in Maryland, which took 16 hours in a shooting classification. The same material is taught in the District of Columbia, but they won't recognize my Maryland work and certification in the district.
And the district used to take 6 months to get your permit. Trump just enacted the emergency orders now with expediting it so you could get your permit in 2-3 days. But you still have to go through the training and everything. So, but I can't carry it in the district. I can't even keep the gun in the car, even locked up, unloaded, anything in the district, I'm in jail. And they'd love to come after me for that.
That's like Jersey, you can't even drive with your guns in the car.
No, you don't ever go across, even a hollow point. Don't have one hollow point in your car going to New Jersey, it's a felony.
Yeah.
So it's really bad, Jersey. And it's so funny because when we go over, I use this expression, I demilitarized my car because I got ammo and guns all over the car a lot of the times. And I don't want to get caught with, you know, a magazine of hollow points. So one thing I wanted to bring up is there was 17 million new voters in the 2020 election. 17 million new voters. What happened to them in 2024? Right? We put a group together and we have the voter rolls for every week since the 2020 election. So for every week we got a copy of the voter rolls. And what I did is I had it ingested. Well, I'll give you an example. Back in 2020, 491,000 new voters showed up before the election. 491,000 new voters. Right after the election, 331,000 disappeared. Well, what we did is we took all those voter rolls, put it into an AI, artificial intelligence engine, and we mapped the movement of the voters. Where they came from, where they went, what they did. And somehow, somebody leaked what we were doing to Harrisburg, that we were watching the voter rolls. They didn't show up. Yes. So we beat them that time. I'm sure you've all read, the president announced this week that he wants to get rid of mail-in ballots and the voting machines. And I believe the federal elections, he could probably get that through. What's coming out, you've seen the tip of the iceberg. A lot more material is going to come out on the election fraud and machines. I just sent a presentation to the White House earlier in the week. The voting machines are considered critical infrastructure for the United States. And what does that mean? That means there's a secure supply chain of how they make the machines. That means we're building the chips, we're building the boards, we're building the fans, we're building the computers, we're doing the software. We all know the machines all come from China.
Yes.
Right? Well, what else is secure infrastructure? Our F-35 stealth jet. The military grounded that jet because they found that in the fuel pump there was a magnet that was made in China. A magnet. So if they can ground the jet for a magnet, what do you think about all these voting machines that are made in China? I think that's probably his best use of reason for getting rid of the machines. And we know they communicated out, we know they're spying on us, we know everything that everyone's talked about is true. There's no doubt. We have all the evidence, and we'll see where that goes. Now the states are interesting because I don't see how the states could run two elections. A paper election for the president, or federal candidates, and then a machines for the rest. And I was with two senators from Louisiana for dinner last week, and the one wife was just got a job for the Attorney General of Louisiana, and her job was they're going to buy $100 million of new voting machines. Oh, she says, oh, they're secure. I says, let me tell you, I programmed for 33 years. I can change the program to do anything you want in those machines. And she got pale. And she said, you know, and I gave her a whole bunch more information. So, but her response back to me was interesting. the White House hasn't given us any guidance on that. So the word's not out yet, but they, at least I'm hoping, hold the contract up because they're gonna waste their money for $100 million worth of voting machines. They're not secure, people. I defy you to take your ballot, paper mark it, and put it into the scanner and know how that machine voted. Oh, but you have a paper audit trail, right? That's what they tell us. The judges won't let you count the paper. So what good is it? Well, I'll stand for questions. I'm sure we can take, as much time as you want, or any questions you have. And if I don't have an answer, I'll make up an answer. Yes, sir.
So if we go to paper ballots, I guess it's gonna be counted by hand, correct? So,
Well, they can be counted a couple of ways. The recommendation is first, they count it at the voting place, first count. Then you can bring them to a central counting location and double blind count them with machines. Not voting type machines, but scanner that just scan. And you put them through, and then you put them through, and if they match, then you can sign off on them.
yeah.
So wait a minute, you're saying if I'm judge of elections, I have to make sure they're counted before I leave?
Yes,
We used to do. That's what we used to do.
I'll pay you an extra $1 for,
Huh?
I'll pay you an extra $1 for being the judge.
No, I'm
No,
just
but-
saying, but how long,
It's not, trust me, it's
it
gonna
will be
take time.
faster. Well, you
But
can,
we always had our voting, we always had our results by midnight.
because I think that they counted them as they went along.
You can do that.
You can't count
Yeah.
them. You can't.
Can't
You have to close the poll, then you go open and count them.
Oh,
I mean, the problem is, and I've got drawings, and when I do my PowerPoints, I can show you about 50 to 60 points of vulnerability in this whole system. Right? I mean, Afghanistan, they put your thumb in ink,
yes, yeah,
right, when you vote,
yeah.
right? It's a paper ballot.
That's what we should
Right?
do.
Or put it in ultraviolet
We do
light.
the same Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Yeah, we do.
My
the same.
friends in Puerto Rico say when you're in high school, you register to vote, and if you don't register for 3 years, then you lose it.
Yeah.
And there's no fraud and there's no nothing because it's paper, right? So, yes, sir.
So you mentioned earlier about, the NRA and everything. Around the time when Columbine High School had the whole shooting in 1999, and you mentioned Tom Selleck, he was on Rosie O'Donnell's talk show at the time, and we know what she did to him.
Yeah.
So compared to that time when Columbine shocked everybody and, Rosie's point of view was trying to become mainstream, do you think today that the whole gun control thing has kind of become, like people are starting to question it now compared to when all these shootings were happening and it was like, oh, we gotta do something.
Can everyone heard the question? So, there's a couple of things that went on. Back then, there was probably about 40 million people that own guns. Today, it's over 100 million. Okay. So a third of the population has guns. I just on the phone with a friend that's a former general, and he just said in the last 2 weeks, gun sales have just went through the roof after they were really low for the last 4 or 5 months. Is that because of Washington, D.C.? Is that because of the blue cities? I'm not sure that answer, but everyone's taking more responsibility for their own self-defense, right? And I say that all the time, not everyone wants to carry, but if somebody walks in the room, you can dial 911 and I'll take out the perp, right? And today, there's about, in Pennsylvania, 14% of the population has a carry permit. So it's still a problem because the antis are the globalists that are behind a lot of this, the Soros money, the Bloomberg money, the USAID money. I mean, they were funding Bloomberg. I mean, there's so much money against us, and then you got the mainstream media against us. So we're doing a lot more as the NRA to bring the general public along with us than the way we were 20 years ago. Not so hardcore. Because we have programs like Refuse to be a Victim, right? It's non-lethal, no gun, but you're taught how to protect yourself. Every young girl going into high school should take that class. Every girl going off to college should take that class because a lot of the colleges, campuses don't allow you to be armed. Right? We have that program. Right? We teach gun safety. Right? 32, 33 million young people have been through our Eddie Eagle program, and nobody else is doing that. The antis don't care about that. So they're still there. Trump's neutered them a bit, but who knows what's going to be in 3.5 years, right? If we lose the midterms, we have a 2-year president because the House is going to go through all the crap that they did to him last time, and the Republicans don't stand up. So, just, yes, sir.
Yes, going back to at the beginning where you were talking about how we can win back the state. And you mentioned that you have other, like a model, basically a platform they can go to and they can show you the ropes. Is there a way you can present that, or at least give us like a leeway of what can we expect? How can we help?
We have to do it in stealth.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but we can break it up into different groups so they can't see the whole program initially. And we have a code name for the project. I'm right now just calling it Plan B, but there's an official name, and if you heard the name, you were like, wow, that's a pretty cool name. But good question.
So on the side, can I approach you so I could help in that situation?
I can put you in touch with someone who I'm trying to get to fund him to start initiating it across the state.
Are you involved with Reclaim campaign in Florida at all?
No, never heard of them.
Well, General Flynn is involved with them. Steve Stern is involved with that group. Steve Bannon is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's unique to every state.
Right.
And that state is similar to our state in a lot of ways, and we've got good help to help us. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what we're doing, it all costs money, right? And like me, I will never give another dollar to the RNC.
True.
They burned their bridges with me, what they did with the money and how they wasted it and then didn't support Trump. So they're not getting any more money, and quite frankly, I've cut back even on candidates because the candidates come and tell you one thing, and then they go to Harrisburg and completely vote the opposite. Yes, sir. And then,
considering how much graft and corruption is within the Republican Party, what are the chances for grassroots people to actually have their issues brought to the floor, and how do we unseat the corruption?
one candidate at a time. We got rid of Pat Brown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That, because I was in a meeting with Pat, with a couple of donors, and he said, there's no fraud in Pennsylvania, mail-in ballots are fine.
No way.
That's what he
In front of
said.
your face?
In front of me, and I says, Pat, if you believe that, we're gonna primary you, and he laughed.
Wasn't even running in around primary.
He laughed. So I called a friend up, I says, Tom, I need a candidate. He found a candidate. I funded his campaign, my wife was the treasurer, and we beat that SOB by 19 votes.
Yeah.
We
And
helped
then we
them.
won the general.
Do we have a candidate to unseat,
Patrick?
no, District 4, down Abington, Cheltenham.
It's
Madeline Dean, we have a candidate to unseat Madeline Dean.
I don't know, I don't, again, you know, I wasn't, I'm a business person trying to apply business sound policy, return on investment, strategic marketing, and I don't get involved in that, you know. That's really what my DNA, right? I'm not an operations guy at all. I hired great operations people to run the companies. I was strategic, future, new product, stuff like that. So that's why I don't know all the candidates. I know where the problems are, because they all tell me they are. But let's face it, I mean, Louisiana senator, because I met with two of them,
Guess how much they make a year in Louisiana? 17,000. That's all, 17,000. We have the highest paid legislators in the country.
The most.
And the most, and year round, right? Texas only meets every other year. They're only in session every other year, their legislators. So they screw too many things up. But we're constantly, but you do it because when we beat Pat Brown, another group down in the Lancaster, York area did the same thing in the House, and they got rid of the number 3 in the House. Same way, grassroots, targeted, focused, and we sent a tidal wave through Harrisburg. They're scared of us now. So you can do it one seat at a time. I tried, I don't remember his name, but he's up by my area, a state rep, and we primaried him because he hasn't done anything. 0. No bills, no nothing, right? But big paycheck. So you can do it, but it takes grassroots. And if you target them and you get the grassroots, you get the friends, you get the Boy Scouts, you get the young people going door to door, you can slowly knock these people off because, like Eddie Cares here says, he converted, right?
I did.
He went from Democrat to Republican.
I call myself a rebel. For the people, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm at the right side, you know.
They all want the same thing, right? They all want safety. They want lower taxes. They want to be able to live and do what they want to do. And we have a much better story. We just can't articulate it.
I don't think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's
The Democrats.
3 things that kind of hurt us. One is, again, I'm not blaming you. The NRA doesn't message well. It doesn't run commercials. So particularly the self-defense issue, too often it's framed as, oh, you know, hunting rights or gun rights. It's not about, you know, defending yourself, the right to defend yourself, and that's one of the big things about stopping crime. The other one is the huge percentage of hunters and gun owners who aren't registered to vote.
Yes, yes.
And I would say the third one is, this isn't directly related to that, but it's kind of related in general. On our side, the grassroots needs funding. It can't compete with a well-funded party, even if they don't spend money against Democrats. They always find money to like up against grassroots candidates in the primary. And they need national funding for things like the precinct project and everything related to that. But those are, I think, the three of the worst things that our side needs to overcome.
So I had a saying, if the Republicans marketed sushi, they would call it cold, dead, raw fish. NRA is no different. Right? And I complained to Wayne for years, our message doesn't resonate.
Right.
Right? It doesn't resonate. What we're doing now as a board and with brainstorming and everything, you're going to see a lot different message. You're going to see a lot different marketing from us. We're reinventing ourselves for the next 154 years. Right? We're the oldest civil rights organization. And I normally start out all my talks with this, we're the largest and oldest civil rights organization. And then everyone like, what do you mean civil rights, right? But it is a civil right.
That's right.
I don't come out and say to everyone, rah, 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 you should hold your guns.
Constitution.
So I agree, and I went brain dead. Stan? That's right, Stan. On this marketing thing. Going to the hunters, okay, we ran Hunt the Vote. NRA, Hunter Nation. I have the imperial data that we flipped PA7, PA8, and kept PA10, Scott Perry's district. There's no doubt that what we did that, plus McCormick's win. Whether you're a McCormick fan or not, at least we got a senator down there for the majority, right? But we did that. We know that there's about 899,000 hunters in Pennsylvania. Okay. 533,000 will most likely vote for conservative issues. We have liberal hunters that don't agree with concealed carry, don't agree with black guns, don't agree even with handguns. They probably won't vote our way. We know there's 168,101 unregistered conservative hunters. We know who they are. I'm right now raising money to target those 168,000 unregistered hunters that would probably vote for conservative issues.
I was just curious, I'm sorry, stuck in my tooth. Is it possible for the NRA PAC or some PAC like that to send them voter registrations? Those 160,000 you're targeting?
No.
No, even better, give that list to Scott Pressler's group. Because we've been hitting them.
Yeah, well, we've got a better group.
Well, we've been
He's
hitting them.
not doing the job. I'm sorry.
Actually, we've been,
All right. So roughly,
we have been.
of the of the targeted hunters, we averaged about 89% returned their mail-in ballots. Right? Very, very high. So when you look at of the low propensity voters, the ones that only voted one of the last 4 times, we brought in 85,000 votes.
Wow.
And McCormick only won by 31,000. If you look at what happened in PA 7, we brought in 6,887, and McKenzie only won by 5,500. And up at Bresnahan, the same thing, we brought in 5,700 up there, he won by 7,000. And in Scott Perry's area, we brought in 5,500, he only won by 6,400. Wow. But you look at the real numbers we brought in, I mean, we brought in 28,000 votes overall of all the hunters. So the program works. We proved it in Louisiana for multiple races there. We proved it in Wisconsin, and we're going to use it again where we need to target it here in PA and try to get the House back.
Well, that's the program that Ted Nugent pushes, Hunter Nation.
Yeah, I had either Ted or Don Jr. When I went around the state promoting the program, I had either Don or Ted zoom in to my audience so they could ask them some questions and we'd have some dialogue back. And it looks like we're going to be doing a concert with Ted Nugent. You know, he's pretty much retired from touring.
He's still out playing though.
Yeah, he's doing 8 events this year.
Yeah.
But he's going to do a private one for NRA and Hunter Nation here in the Lehigh Valley.
All right.
So I'm working on a date and a location. Yes, sir.
So one thing that always gets talked about, so you were talking about like, oh, this person got paid but they didn't do anything, is those are a little bit more liberal in their beliefs. They're going to be like, oh, well, then we need tax, but then when they do the taxing, it goes to us, not the rich. And then, but what's the right side view? Because one thing that is a problem is we're seeing people getting large paychecks when they don't do anything. What should be the next? What should be the correct step? That way we don't mimic the other side saying, oh well, we got to deal with the rich, but then they tax us instead.
It's a hard response to that because I don't have the answer because we've got the media against us. Right? I've got my president's column and I've got 3 individuals that emailed me and they said, you know, why is NRA supporting the sex offender in the White House? Right? But on the same thing as they're complaining about how Massachusetts went anti-gun. Right? I mean, I can't reason with them. I've tried a little bit and you just can't reason with them.
So how is the state allowed to violate federal law for Second Amendment?
Because we don't have enough money to fight all the lawsuits. Right? We know we know they're right. Lancaster, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Right? We know they're violating state law or federal law. Right? The state police are violating
Pennsylvania law by having a name and address for all the handguns sold.
Who is our militia?
Who is our militia?
Who's our militia? Is the National Guard our state militia?
Well, I can't answer that because I just heard something the other day that there's two different types of militia. And I'm not an expert on that, I'll be honest with you. Right, there's the National Guard, but then the state can have a state militia also of the citizens. But I can't go further than that because I don't have the
Because the
answers.
state is acting against the people out of accordance with federal law and representation of state of emergency and preventing open carry, and cities preventing, handgun carries. In New York City, I don't know how Philadelphia is, but
Well, what do they do?
New York City now can have license, but you have to.
it's really hard to get one.
Yeah.
But they all tell you, they don't even disguise it. We're not gonna abide by that, we don't care, right? We don't care what the Supreme Court said,
And they're open about it.
but they're very open. They tell us what they're gonna do, and the Republicans don't fight back,
That's the
Right.
problem.
right?
That's
And to me, they're compromised. I mean, why would you approve a new FBI headquarters, was it last year or 2 years ago, for $2 billion, and the Republicans vote for it after everything that happened? Because they're compromised. I don't know what else to say. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, well, I work with the John Birch Society, so we're along with you. But the point I'd like to make is that I tried for 6 months to meet with my representative to Harrisburg. 6 months he put me off. Now, since it's coming up soon on the re-election, all of a sudden he had a half hour free,
Right.
which turned into an hour after he understood what our point was that he wanted to learn about that he didn't know about. In any case, the best idea would be to get the representatives with us, at least representing us. However, they don't even, I don't know how they know what the people want. They make promises like, yeah, we're gonna cut your property taxes, we're gonna do that. They know what to promise.
Right.
When they get into the office, it's a whole different story. They now become the elite, we become the bourgeoisie. So my question is, how do we enlist them when they don't even want to hear from you outside of doing an identity scam, or they'll do some kind of a, veterans thing,
What does
or
every politician want?
votes,
Can be like
Money.
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 So I'll tell you a little secret. And we did that with Pat Brown. Guess what's public record?
Contribution.
All the donors.
Go to the donors.
You
Whoa,
go to the donors
whoa.
and you show them the voting record. That's what we did. We went to the 80-20 rule,
Wow.
right? Some of them you're not gonna ever tear away. But all that low-hanging fruit down there, we did that. And we dried up their money.
Great
Pat
idea.
still stole the
Great
state
idea.
hospital right down the street for pennies on the dollar. Who followed that?
Who bought it? Right?
His buddy.
Yeah.
We had buddy.
Well, you know his district?
Yeah, I
Pat
know.
Brown's district?
I know it.
We call it the finger district. Because if you look at the district, it goes in one block like 8 blocks and then comes back out 8 blocks. And because his house, Pat Brown's house is there.
17.
And they traded, you hear in the news today, redistricting, right? They traded his district to be like plus 15 or plus 16 Republican. So they would get a Democrat district, they trade all this stuff, right? So Pat never thought he would lose the district. We beat him. And we've got a good candidate that's fighting his heart out. But he really says, I bang my head against the wall with these Republicans. They're clueless. They won't stick together. They won't do what's right.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, don't you dare compromise on the budget. If we can hold the budget 0 or actually reduce it 5%, because look what's happening in Washington, all the waste. But here's another little secret too. is the politicians out in Harrisburg really don't run Harrisburg. It's the chief of staffs. They're employees of the state. They're there year in, year out. So when Jared got elected, I told Jared, I said, don't you dare hire the chief of staffs they're going to recommend to you. And he hired somebody from Texas. And what did they do? They cut his budget in half. And he fought back. But that's the game. They want to control the inner circle, right? When he wanted to do a subpoena against Pat Brown, the Secretary of Revenue, because of it is, the attorney for the Senate says, why would you want to do that? You know, why would you want to subpoena? Well, the guy's not providing the data that he's supposed to provide by law.
Right.
So subpoena, the lawyers, the Senate's lawyers, you don't want to do that. They're protecting each other. It's horrible. You know, when the mayor of Chicago said, the mayor of Chicago said, Scranton, Pennsylvania is more corrupt than us. Right? Because most of the mayors there went to jail. Harrisburg is more corrupt than Washington. And I use the maybe corrupt the wrong way, but they just don't do what we need them to do to support our state. Right? I'm starting another company. There's no way I would want to start the company in Pennsylvania with the tax implications. So what's going to happen? We're getting poorer and poorer. You look at Texas, you look at Florida. I mean, you've got to go there. You really don't have a choice to put a new company in, start a new company. I thought maybe West Virginia, because we got great Republican leaders in West Virginia. Great leaders there. But their taxes are 5% corporate, 5% individual, 10% off. You can't go there when it's 0 and 0 and 1 and 1.5. So, you know, we've got a lot of problems here, and we just spend. I moved to the state in '99, and I remember something that impressed me when I moved here, is the road crews would have a little block of wood, a railroad tie, with a hole in it. They put their sign in it for road construction. New Jersey had these fancy aluminum signs with flags all over them. I said, wow, that's cost savings, right? Well, what's Pennsylvania have now? Right? The other day, coming down 78, not only do the cones on this in the road, but they got neon blinkers in the cones. I mean, we just piss away money, and we're broke. Was it 20 billion? I think they said we're going to be broke. Yes, Stan.
And they were just to corroborate that, there, whether you love SEPTA or hate it, they're squabbling over a couple $100 million to SEPTA. It's like you have $1 billion going to illegals every year for the state. Where you, of course, no Republican mentions Zach Shapiro with it.
Well, we talked about it earlier. You've got the Republicans in the Southeast that are going to support Shapiro. That's the word on the street.
Yeah.
Yes, right? Jeff Bartos ran fundraisers, our Senate candidate ran fundraisers for Shapiro. That other clown, that was our former state chairman, ran fundraiser for Shapiro. No, not Tavis. No, not Tavis. It'll come to me. But he ran a TV ad with his picture on it. Former, you know, party chairman, I'm supporting Shapiro.
And they're not expelled, but a committee person who doesn't like knock the
right. Yeah, the bylaws say you're expelled. The bylaws say you're expelled. It doesn't matter. So, I don't know, Bill, how much more time you want? I mean, we can go on all night.
I really have, you're talking about a lot of issues, okay?
I'm sorry.
You're covering a lot of issues, okay? And your wife ran for Parkland School Board, if you remember.
Yes.
All right. Parkland School Board is 9-0 liberals now. And you think we're an unlimited bank.
Yeah.
All right.
4% increase in taxes.
Yeah, but that's the issue. When government thinks we're an unlimited bank, all of us, they're coming after our pockets. They're bankrupting us is what they're doing.
Yep.
And basically, when we're looking at this here, when you're talking up there, here's what we as Republicans have done. We don't work together to solve this corruption. We got an elitist class within the party that governs the party, and we need, like you were saying, one candidate at a time, but that takes time. But how do you hold them accountable? That's our responsibility as we the people. And that's what our Constitution gives us, a blueprint. And I believe you hit on some of them areas.
Our most important races, and I'm moving NRA in that direction too, are our DAs and judges. We got an AG now on Sunday who's worthless. Just worthless, doing nothing on the Second Amendment to support us for the branch, and other things. So there's the problem. We vote them in and we don't hold them accountable, right? Who's the controller? Not controller, Auditor General. Tim DeFore. Tim DeFore
Auditor General is terrible.
is worthless.
He's worthless to do the audit.
He's well. We can go on and on about,
Well,
you know, it was my election cycle, so I don't really want to count the
yeah,
ballots.
well, people don't know where he comes from. He comes from Philadelphia. He's put in by Democrats. He promised us to do an audit on the shore system. And what did he do? He turned on us immediately, okay? He did not do the audit. And you know, we got people in our state that are supposed to be with election integrity say, oh, you can't shake him up. Well, let me tell you, we have so many people that are in that shore system through the driver's license that are illegals that are voting in our state. He refused to take care of that after he promised it done. But no one wants to pressure him, and then he won another election. You know how he won? Without putting signs out. How do you do that? Okay? No door knocker. He didn't show up at any of the Republican events where he was scheduled to speak. Who put him in is the Democrats. I'm telling you that. And the rhinos. That's who put LaFleur back and put him back in.
That's right.
Let's be real.
So there's one more thing. How many have heard about the money mules? Anybody? Money mules?
Yeah.
Okay, a few of them. Back in 2021, I went to the Federal Election Commission reports on donations. And I wanted to see what they reported on how much money I gave the party. Just, I don't know why I decided to do that. But I went in and put my zip code in, 18104, and I found my name, but then I found this name, Timothy Bingham. And I found his name, and I found his name, and I found his name, and I found his name. So I downloaded all the donations into Excel, sorted it down, and found that Timothy Bingham in 2022 made 1,190 donations to Act Blue for an average of $43, but $51,000. The year before, in 2021, he did 888 donations, 2020, 591 donations. I went and looked for somebody else, and I found another individual who's an associate pastor at a church in Allentown. He made 13,629 donations in 1 year for $151,000. Money laundering. I went to our DA. Oh, I can't touch that. That's federal. Yeah, Jim Martin, wouldn't touch it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, wouldn't touch it. Well, Jim Martin supported Shapiro for AG too, so I couldn't go to the district guy because he was Democrat, right? I had nowhere to go with this. So I sat on it for 2 years. Finally, the Gateway Pundit picked some of this up. And then when the new RNC chief operating officer took the job, the next day I went down to see him.
I gave him this. And then maybe a couple months later, he calls me and says, Billy, you sent me this stuff. Can you send it again? Within 3 days, there was 3 state attorney generals investigating this. They're estimating, I think I put it on here, over $30 billion have been laundered through this process. 30 billion. And the Republicans done nothing.
How do you get the word out, though? How do you get the word out to the average?
Well,
It's out.
it's out now.
But it's not out among young people. I have one in high school, one in college, and let me tell you, they're
That's,
clueless.
well, it's Eddie's
It was
problem.
out last election.
It's Eddie's problem here, because he's a social media guru, and he didn't get it out.
I'm getting educated today, and I told you that's what I'm here for. So that's what, you know, everybody has a purpose there.
But, you know, this is public record. I mean, I can go on and on. Our state party for all their credit card transactions uses Stripe for credit card processing. Stripe is run by 2 young liberal Democrats, and they're probably 30 by now, worth billions of dollars. Actually, I probably have that slide here too. 30 years old.
I used to use Stripe back in the day, but they were the worst money transaction service I've ever dealt with in my entire life.
I don't have that one with me, but yes, Stripe, they're worth like $50 billion, the two boys. And they support all Democrat liberal causes. And I said to the state party, and to them, and Win Red uses them too. Okay, Win Red.
Right.
So
Surprise.
not only are we giving them 2.5% on every transaction of our donors, we're giving them our donor list and how much the donors are giving so they can use the data against us. This is the crap that we deal with. Okay?
And would it be fair to say that there's corruption in both parties, but at least the Democrats are competent in their corruption to get elected, and our corrupt are incompetent to get elected?
And the Democrats.
They're not trying to.
Have you heard of Arabella Advisors? Anybody hear about Arabella Advisors? Arabella Advisors. They are the money, I'm going to call it laundering house, but basically they bring in billions of dollars of money and give it back out, that not $1 is wasted on duplicate effort. Right? They don't have 5 companies doing mailings, they only have 1 company doing mailings. They only have 1 law firm, Perkins Coie. I mean, they are a well-oiled machine that if you're a billionaire, you can give them $300 million, and the interest earned on the $300 million, they keep a portion of it to fund them. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars with Arabella Advisors. Nothing's being done, right? We talked about marketing, Democracy Alliance, Democracy. They got the best names in the world for their C3s, C4s. They stand them up for a year or 2 and then they disappear. So we are so far behind the 8 ball. It's disgusting. I mean, I got a lot of ladies in the room. I can't use the words I'd like to use. No, I know Marianne will tell my wife. But it's just frustrating that how incompetent we are, or I don't think we're incompetent. It's part of complacent, we're part of the grift with everyone else. They decide, hey, you're going to win that race, you're going to win this race, you're going to win that. We'll give you power this year, but we'll take it back next year.
Uniparty.
Well, yeah, it's the uniparty.
One thing you said earlier was education.
Yeah.
I'm going through the education part right now. I'm educated for folks. That's very important, just educating the right people and getting to them. So, demographic, like you said, you gotta get to the younger crowd. Just getting those people involved, you know, you can all do it.
Hillsdale's got some great programs for civics. And they have a K through 12 Hillsdale approved school up in the Wilkes-Barre area. I was just with the principal this past weekend. Great. And so they're teaching
Hillsdale curriculum. They got great teachers. Right now, I think they're gonna be 60, I think they said 60 students, and they're growing. They have money problems too.
Hillsdale is
But-
really great.
But Hillsdale's super, right? But they've got a free civics program.
I mean,
And, you know, I'm gonna tell my boys, they want something special, you're gonna take the program before you're gonna get it.
I've done courses.
It's
on
called
there.
extortion.
I've done courses.
Have you taken them?
Yes.
They're pretty good.
Because I'm a history type guy.
Okay.
And I love studying about government, I love studying about our founding fathers, and I get courses on there about that.
Yes. So I don't, remember with all the illegal flights, the illegals coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you,
That's the 15 flights that we know of that came into Allentown.
well, I remember when you did that presentation at the Tea Party.
Oh, there were a lot more, but we were there for those 15 flights with our night vision and our infrared stuff and chasing the buses down the road and following where they were going. But yeah, they came right in Allentown.
You did the presentation at the Tea Party.
Yes, I did, yep.
And you
And where
showed
did
everything.
where did they drop them off?
New Jersey, and they went through Philadelphia to Camden.
Right.
The flights out of Westchester, New York, went down into Long Island to an LGBT indoctrination group. And that was government funded.
Right.
So the immigration thing went to an LGBTQ.
I'm going to
group.
take two more questions for Bill.
How did those two groups get together?
You know how it works with the government, right? Yes, ma'am.
Since you helped defeat Pat Brown, what would you recommend is the most effective thing to help a grassroots campaign to win? Like, what would you use to get your message out? Since you said a lot of the mailers feed your trash can, like, what would you recommend?
Well, you need to really understand, and that's why I think we lose so many school board races, is we really don't understand what the voters want or looking for.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's funny, I got 200 emails on my presidents, and I got a feeling for what they said, right? Because it's what I wanted to hear. And I put them through an AI engine, and the AI engine went through and sorted them and prioritized and classified, and I got a different answer than what I felt. So we've got to figure out what the voters are looking for, and every voter is looking for something different. And if you go to somebody like I360, they've got thousands of data points on every one of us. They know us better than we know ourselves. And it's expensive to buy the data, but you buy the right data to do the mail merge and understand what resonates. And you know you don't have to waste your time at all with Mary Ann because she's one of us, right? But Eddie here is still on the edge here, you know, he's still a deep-seated, you know, Democrat there. We always got to keep him sharp. So I would want to know, is it a winnable district? Because sometimes it's just not winnable. Right? I know when we did the Trump rallies in the Valley, and I would thank everyone for coming, and the Republican Party would be mad at me for thanking the Democrats and the Independents for coming.
Huh.
Right? I got
So you got to speak to it.
scolded sort of way, right? And I'm like, hold on, let me understand. 21% are Democrats in this crowd.
We need every vote.
28% are independents. More than half the crowd is not Republican. We want them under our tent. And we alienate them.
Absolutely.
We alienate them.
We need every vote, regardless.
And that's when we won in 2016. I remember screaming at Eric Trump, Eric, why isn't your dad in the Lehigh Valley? Right? No rallies in the Lehigh Valley, but rallies everywhere else. He says, Bill, we already know how they're going to vote, and we can't change what's going to happen.
Well, we changed them.
Right? We know where to pick them off. They did all the statistics and everything, and they won.
Yeah, Clinton took Lehigh.
Yeah, of course he did. She did.
She did.
So, you know, there's no, you need money. You need a great candidate. That's really it. It's somebody that's going to appeal, similar lifestyle, similar, right? It's like taking a business person and putting him up in you know, one of the rural counties.
Bradford down here.
Bradford, right?
Susquehanna.
Yeah, it's like, why I'm not wearing a suit, right? It's I changed my picture in my NRA magazine, because a suit doesn't resonate with our members.
Right.
Our members are common class. So now I actually think I'm wearing this shirt, actually, my new picture next month. And I didn't like William A. I mean, it's Bill. You know, I only got called William by my mom when I was in trouble. I know that. It's like yeah, right. So William, I went that way. But you know, it's you got to resonate with your audience. And this story is, oh, it's got to be a woman, or it's got to be this, or it's got to be that. It's bullshit. It's human relations.
That's right,
You know,
that's right.
it's what matters. Yes.
I'd just like to comment that I think the voters are weary. The voters already understand. It was either the last election or the previous election where only 17% of Northampton County voters turned out.
This primary.
17% statewide.
Oh, maybe,
On our side.
Lehigh was only
maybe I'm
16.1.
misremembering,
Well, they're
but
disillusioned.
disillusioned, you got it.
They're just, we had it at the Tea Party meetings, right? The older generation says, well, why should I vote when it's fraud?
Right,
Right?
right.
So, but there's the opportunities that you only need to get 1 or 2 more points, right? When we lost all the elections in Lehigh Valley, I think it was 28% turnout. And in Carbon County, they won every election because it was 32% turnout. So a small little turnout can flip this. The hunters can flip, right? The Christian community
Yes.
is the same thing as the hunters.
1 more percent of the black or Hispanic vote from major cities, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we want the Hispanic vote? Right?
Yeah.
They're us.
Yes.
Right? They're family, they're hardworking, they love God, they want better for their kids. They're ours.
They're conservative by heart.
They're conservatives.
That's what we're trying in Northampton.
Yeah, and in Lehigh.
And you know, so we want to welcome them. And I got that from one of my board members when I sat on the membership meeting, and he said, well, why would you want to invite the Hispanics? It's more than 50% of Texas, more than 50% of Nevada, more than 50% of California. It's probably close to 50 in Florida.
It's over 50,
Allentown's close
it's
to
over
that now.
50% in Allentown.
Yeah.
Whole Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah. You
Basically.
didn't know that?
53%. You can go 50%.
So that's, I mean, we need to reach out, open our tent out, and be welcoming. Well, they're coming around. They're waking up. But we gotta educate them. They're not taught
See,
civics.
that's the problem.
I never knew what that NRA was, ever in my life. And I consider myself pretty educated in certain things. I know a lot of my rights, and I know a lot of the Constitution, but I never knew what the NRA stands for. I just thought you guys were a gun group that were running around town, you know.
Camo? Yeah, right.
I swear.
Let's go, buddy.
Kind of like, you know, if you're uneducated, you would think you guys, if nobody educates us, you would think that you guys would look at militia. Like, you know what I mean? That if you're not educated, you think about, oh, that's just a guy, bunch of guns and everything else, you know?
Well, there's, between, depending on Zogby and the other one, of course, you don't want to trust polls anymore because they're wrong in elections, right? But they say between 20 and 30 million gun owners identify as NRA members. So when we put something out, we sway elections, right? I mean, we beat Clinton, right? We Trump, 3 times we won for Trump. So we are a force because we do vote. And the family votes along with typically the voter. But, okay, well.
Okay, I want you to give Bill a big applause, okay?
Thank you, because without you as activists, we can't win, we can't do it, right? So spread the word.
Now I need them to